Hi everybody, this is Dane Hansen at Jungie Lincoln Volvo Mazda, coming with a quick review on this CX-50 Premium. This is a beautiful, high quality white color. Mazda does an excellent job with their paint. It's kind of hard to get it to come through on camera, but you can see the metallic fleck is really good. Looks really good paired with these black wheels and this plastic body cladding here. Sneak between these two and get behind him here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the differences with one of the biggest questions I get asked, which is what's the difference between a CX-5 and a CX-50? So the easiest way to tell is if you stand right behind the car from about this angle. You can really see this wide fender flare right here. Now right behind me I have a CX-5, and you'll notice if I stand in the same spot, not as much. Another difference with the 5 between the 5 and the 50 is the roof height. The 50 roof height, of course not counting the crossbars, is a little bit lower than the 5 is, but the 50 is a little bit longer. Oh, apologize about that background noise. The 50 is a little bit longer, wider, and shorter than the 5 is. This one is a premium. I didn't quite have as high a trim level as my CX-5 review I just did, but I want to show a couple of things that are different and a couple of things that are the same. So one of the easy ways to see the extra length is back here in the cargo area. Little bit shorter than the 5, but deeper. Another difference here is, like most cars, Mazda does a 60-40 split. Now I can lay down either section of this with this handle right here. We're going to do this side. So I pull this handle forward like so. You'll see it kind of releases. This one's parked at a little bit of an angle, so the seat tips forward. Now you'll notice it hit that front seat. That's because that front seat is slid too far back. Basically, you just slide the seat forward. So once we go around the side, I'll pull that seat back up. Funny story as well, you'll notice the CX-50 has these little pockets off to the side. I actually had a customer of mine here in Hiawatha tell me that these are great because they're the perfect size for a gallon of milk to not slide around. This one, of course, has the Mazda cargo mat. If we lift up under here, you'll notice you have your donut spare tire. And if I lift this up a little bit further, hard to do one-handed, you'll see your jack and everything like that. Now to close the lift gate, we just press this button right here. Now this lock button actually just locks all of the doors. So if you were back here and we're getting something out, you could press that to lock the doors, and then this to close the tailgate. Another cool thing with the 50, you'll see this vent right here, which of course is not on the 5. Just kind of adds to the overall sportiness a little bit. There are some other small differences. Oh, helps if you unlock the car all the way. Little cramped in here, so that actually works out pretty well. You'll notice a slightly different center console back here for the rear seat passengers. They do have some plugins there underneath their vents. This folds up pretty easily, and you'll notice these have a slightly different seat composition. So the 50s actually get this pretty high quality fabric insert here, followed by this kind of vinyl type leather, and then real leather right here on the side. Pretty unique mix of materials, pretty comfortable as well. I love this stripe for the accenting. And for those of you with kids, those are the easiest car seat anchors there are, and this snaps back in. I can even do that one-handed. Super easy to do. So hopping up here into the driver's seat, we'll talk a little bit more about the differences. So go ahead and start the car up, get the AC going, since it is still pretty warm here in Iowa. Turn that fan down a little bit. So a couple of things you'll notice right away. Gauge cluster, very, very similar to the CX-5, which is, definitely a good thing, consistent across the Mazda lineup. Down here though, you'll notice the steering wheel is slightly different. The CX-50's got a little bit different styling, but functionally very similar. Adaptive cruise is over here. Volume and everything is on this side. This info button, you press that, and your center speedometer will toggle through the different views. So I, again, like this speedometer. I think it's a really clean, easy to follow, good looking speedometer. And then you can see fuel economy. This will show you your follow distance. So if I toggle this up and down, you can see what you have your adaptive cruise set up. And of course, back to the speedometer. Now, the biggest differences from the inside, aside from the seating surfaces between the 5 and the 50, are this display and the center console area. Now the display functions the same between the 5 and the 50, but you'll notice this is a little wider. If I push the home button again, we'll actually bring this display up. Functionally works the exact same as the CX-5, the 90, the 30, just all across Mazda's lineup. Same thing with navigation, you can get the SD card. Cool thing with the CX-50, they are standard wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Super convenient, and you can spend a lot more money than this and not get that feature, which is pretty impressive for Mazda. Another difference between the 5 and the 50, this sunroof. So the 5s get a manual shade for this front piece of glass and no second piece of glass. The 50, of course, gets access to both, and it's power controlled with, whoop, there we go, these switches right here. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and close that since we're in the middle of July here. And then down here in the center console, so the console itself is a little bit different. You'll notice it's a little longer and a little lower than the 5 is. So you push this button, and this is actually a twin split, open. You look in here, decent depth, plugins right here, and then the little port for the SD card is down there. Bit tricky to show. Cool thing I do like that's thoughtful is if you do run a cord, there's a little pass through there, so you're not actually shutting this on the cord. You can run it right through there. And then a little bit hard to see with these closed, but with them open, wireless charge pad. So a little bit different from the 5. In the 5, the charge pad is up there, and the cup holders are back here. And the 50 is just inverted. Chargers here, cup holders are up there where I've got those keys. This dial looks slightly different. It's a little shorter and wider, but functionally does all of the same things between the 5 and the 50. Controls your display up there. Very intuitive. You can lay your arm right here, be in the normal driving position, and then run all of your infotainment controls up here. Pretty cool setup from Mazda. And then of course, if you're using CarPlay or Android Auto, then you can use this as a physical touchscreen, which is kind of nice. Let me know if this is helpful and what else I can show you. I'm planning on doing some more videos. I want to spend a little bit more time on Mazdas, and let me know which brand I have you're most interested in. And thank you again for watching. Dane Hansen, Jungie Lincoln Volvo Mazda.